Lots of talk about trades. ESPN did a story proposing trades. One of them had the Lions giving up a second-round pick this coming year, along with a third-round pick in 25, conditional third-round pick, and James Houston for Minnesota edge rusher Danielle Hunter. Now, he's a free agent after this year. The third-round pick would convey to Minnesota if the Lions signed him as a free agent. This is not anything other than this is a writer. I think it's Bill Barnwell. Double check that. But I think it's Bill Barnwell who put it together. And yes, indeed it was. As he did 15 trade proposals that make sense for both teams. Hey, man, that would be awfully appealing. The Brian Burns stuff, I mean, that's a go big or go home move. He had 12.5 sacks last year. This year he's got 4 through 5 games, and they are 0-5 and might be looking to start a rebuild. There was some insight on that on the Athletic, Gator, and I want to know, and Kang as well. I think it was that last year the Rams, to get Brian Burns, offered 2 first-round picks. And Carolina said no. Yeah, last year the Rams offered 2 first-round picks, 24 and 25, and a future third, which is almost exactly what they gave up for Stafford. I guess they also threw in this quarterback. What was that guy's name? And
Stetson Bennett?
Yes. And Carolina said no to 2 first-round picks and a future third. A year later, things have changed. He's a year closer to free agency.
Mm-hmm.
And
that's a big thing.
It's a big thing. So would 1 first-round pick get Brian Burns now?
I doubt it. I mean, certainly if you're Carolina, you're holding out for much more. But in the end, does that get it done? I think not.
Ask for more.
Yeah, I think you'd. I mean, look, to balance things out, if you're the Lions, you'd offer up a player, I think, too. Like if you wanted to.
James Houston
or an Aquara, whatever.
Well, would the same deal for Danielle Hunter get you Brian Burns, a second, a conditional third, and James Houston?
The same deal? It's not the same deal. They're not the same player. Yeah. So I would imagine it's.
I'm trying. I'm workshopping over here.
No, I hear you. It's like the parameters. It's Danielle Hunter is going to cost less than Brian Burns.
Mm-hmm.
I think probably in large part just because of the age. Even though Hunter's having a better season, Hunter's got a better track record, but Burns is on this rise, and people know or feel that he's going to be a star. Hunter is like underrated. I think you mentioned the name, people are like, what? What's he done? Well, he's got 77 sacks in his career in 107 games. I mean, that's pretty impressive. It's very impressive.
No, he's really good, and he's only 28. It's not like he's ancient or anything. The thing with Brian Burns, I'm struggling to figure out what kind of deal would get it done because guess what? Yesterday's price is not today's price.
Nope.
So yesterday's price was 2 first-round picks. Not today's price. Not today's price when you might lose him for nothing. Maybe get a comp pick or whatever. But I think maybe a first-round pick might get it done. Maybe you steal him like the Rams stole Von Miller. And I know Von Miller was older, but it was like a second and a third, and everyone in the league was like, that was it. I don't think it's going to be that low for Brian Burns, but I keep going back. Yesterday's price is not today's price. We'll see where the Panthers are at. They're 0-5. They have no picks for trading.
No first-round pick next year.
So I think you can get them maybe on a desperation move. And if you're the Lions and if you're Lions fans, this is the, hey, we're pushing our chips in. We don't know if we're going to re-sign this guy or extend him at the end of the year, but we're going for this year because we feel that good about this team.
Well, what's the downside to Danielle Hunter over Brian Burns? The downside is that it's a trade that would be done within the division.
Which hasn't stopped Detroit and Minnesota before.
No, it hasn't. And usually those are draft day trades.
T.J. Hockenson wasn't.
Well, I guess you're right. Hockenson wasn't. So, and I'm glad that doesn't stop the Lions because it wouldn't stop me. You know my philosophy on that. So, can that get it done? Just can it get it done with a second round pick? Is that what it would take? Or what's Hunter signed through?
Well, he's under control too. Yeah.
No, Danielle Hunter's on a 1-year, $17 million deal. He's a free agent after this year.
Okay, so he's also free agent.
Oh, is that an up? I thought he just signed a big deal. Oh,
I thought so too, and it's weird. Spot Track has him under contract for 3 years, but everybody else is reporting that he is a 1-year deal. So I'm going to assume there might be cap ramifications that echo, but
well, you got a guy who's got a track record of double-digit sacks in recent history. All but 2 of the years. Well, I guess the 1 year, 2021, he played 7 games, but he had 6 sacks in the 7 games.
Mm-hmm.
He's played 5 games this year. He's got 6 sacks. Last year, he had 10.5. He had back-to-back 14.5 sack seasons. He's awfully productive for a guy that doesn't have anybody playing the other side of him. So the thought of what he and Hutchinson could do is really tantalizing. Now, I'm a big James Houston guy, but James Houston's out with a broken leg and limited to what he can do in terms of is he just a pass rush guy? He only comes in on 3rd down, which I don't mind, but Danielle Hunter is a guy that's going to play all downs. So I kind of like the idea of getting him. Brian Burns thing might cost too much. Danielle Hunter may not cost much at all.
Well, I don't know if either of that, the price tag on the ESPN story where they made up a trade, I'd pay gladly. I'm thinking if I'm a Minnesota fan, would I be happy about that? No. But I kind of like it when an outsider parachutes in and puts together a deal that they think makes sense for both teams because everybody's coming at it from their own perspective and their own bias. Like Detroit Sports Talk Radio will ask, will they take a 3rd-round pick for Danielle Hunter? And Minnesota Sports Talk Radio will say 2 firsts and a 3rd for Danielle Hunter. Right. So you have somebody independent come in and set a price. You go, huh.
And what's the price again?
A 2nd, a conditional 3rd, and James Houston. The conditional 3rd would convey to Minnesota in 2025 if Detroit were to bring Danielle Hunter back on a free agent contract after this season.